Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Well, it's November now, so a new month brings us closer to 2021, and hopefully that means that this year is almost at an end. No one knows what 2021 has in store, but you know what you can do? You have 2 more days, you can go and vote. There's my TED Talk for this video. It's my TED Talk. Go vote! You got, see, today's the 1st, you have 2 more days. Today is a Sunday. You have tomorrow and Tuesday to go vote. So go vote! As you've seen before, I did an October wrap-up of all the books that I read in October, so I guess it's only fitting to start off next with my TBR for November. Since October is obviously spooky season, I themed the whole month around anything that was kind of horror, mystery, sci-fi, fantasy, supernatural, anything in those categories. So I got the idea that maybe I could do some more themed months going forward. So November I deemed reread month, so all of the books here that I have are going to be rereads with the exception of 3. 2 of them are from my book of the month and 1 of them is my monthly monograph. Some of these reads I haven't read in at least a decade, maybe a little bit more, so it's going to be interesting to see how my perception has changed on them. So let's just jump right into this TBR and see how November's gonna go. So the first book, or I should say books, in my TBR for November is going to be the Harry Potter series. I usually do an annual reread of these every year. Most of the time they take place during the summer, but here I'm going to be doing it for November as part of my reread, and so there are 7 of them. Undisturbed, I can crank out all 7 of these within about 2.5, 3 weeks. Since I have other things going on, it may take me the whole month to do it, and I always find going back and revisiting these stories as I get older, I start to pick up more and more that I never really picked up before, especially when it comes to foreshadowing. Whenever you reread a book, it's very interesting, and it's always very interesting to me to see anything that's been foreshadowed, and when you read it you're like, oh, yep, I know what that means, I don't know, it's kind of like little bitty nuggets for a reader who's never read it before, and going back and finding those is pretty interesting and pretty nice. So yeah, I'm gonna start off with Harry Potter. Hopefully I can get through them all my goal is to get through them all before Thanksgiving. Yeah, it should be fine. Obviously, I can kick out the first 2 in 2 days. I do tend to read simultaneously as well, so I'll get through Harry Potter first. The next book on my TBR reread is going to be Tuck Everlasting. I haven't read this book in, I couldn't tell you how long, probably since the 6th grade. But probably, let's see, oh god, 6th grade. Would have been 10 or 11. It's been about 14, 15 years since I read this book. Oh wow. Talk about nostalgia. It's pretty short. It's not even 150 pages, so it's pretty short. I could probably crack it out in a day, day and a half. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, Tuck Everlasting is about a family that I believe are immortal. I believe they're immortal, and a girl stumbles upon them and starts hanging out with them and wanting to be immortal as well. And then there's something to do with a tree, and honestly, I really don't remember anything about this book. I've seen the film, I've read the book, it's been at least a decade or so longer. I think Alexis Bledel, is that the girl from Gilmore Girls? I think that chick, I think that girl's in it. I don't know, but Tuck Everlasting, that's the 2nd one on my list. The 3rd reread that's on my list is the Scarlet Letter. And now the Scarlet Letter, I know for a fact I haven't read since the 10th grade, which is exactly a decade ago. We read it for American literature. We read this at the exact same time as The Crucible. I recently rewatched the Crucible film, and if you haven't seen it recently, I suggest that you need to go and watch that. It's insane to see how relative it is to today. It's kind of scary. And yet, it was written in the 50s by Arthur Miller, and rewatch The Crucible. Anyway, Scarlet Letter. I don't remember much about it. I know, obviously, the Scarlet Letter is the A for adultery. Easy A is all based on the book, and it's a modern take on the book and things. I don't remember how it ends. I don't remember how it ends. I also haven't seen the film in about a decade. This copy that I have is less than 200 pages as well, so far all of these rereads are pretty short. It's about a woman who is accused of committing adultery because she has a baby. Either the baby's out of wedlock or the father's dead, and wow, I can't remember. Right, so the main character, Hester, has an affair. She commits adultery, which is why she has the Scarlet A on her chest, and she has a daughter. And this is all set during the Puritan period in Massachusetts. It's less than 200 pages, so yeah, I've actually been wanting to reread this for a while now. I don't know. I guess when I started doing the whole trying to figure out my TBR for October, this kind of came to mind, but I didn't think it was spooky seasoned enough, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, the Scarlet Letter, I'm gonna give it a go. It's a classic. I mean, literally classic. So yeah, 200 pages. Should be able to knock it out. My last reread that I have in this list is going to be The Outsiders. I absolutely love The Outsiders. I loved it in the 7th grade when I read it for the first time. We also watched the film. I've seen the film a couple times. This book is also under 200 pages. I think it's just over 150 pages. So, Soda Pop. Yeah. Ponyboy Curtis. Follows Ponyboy Curtis and all of his band of brothers, kind of like the T-Birds kind of thing in Greece. Coming of age story, trying to find his own. I don't want to spoil it for you because I remember, unlike Tuck Everlasting and The Scarlet Letter, I remember what happens at the end of this book, so I don't want to spoil it for you, but it has been a really long time since I've read it, and I'm kind of excited to get back in to reread this one. I really love this cover too. I found this one, I thrifted this one, which is nice. I've gotten in the habit of thrifting books recently, so yeah. The Outsiders. Those are all the rereads I'm going to be doing for the month of November, and so the only ones that I have left are my book of the month and my monthly monograph. So a historical monograph is basically a non-fiction historical book that's usually set about one specific topic. Just in case if you weren't aware, there's a difference between a historical monograph and historical like textbook. Textbooks usually cover multiple different things. My historical monograph for November is going to be Elizabeth the Queen by Alison Weir. Alison Weir is a British historian and author of the Tudor period. She has some other books on I think Eleanor of Aquitaine. So she usually does a lot of the British monarchy. And not only does she does non-fiction, but she also does fiction as well. I haven't read any of her fiction. This is actually going to be the very first book by her that I'll actually read. This follows Elizabeth I of England from the day she becomes queen all the way up into her death. So it doesn't talk about her childhood. So it doesn't talk about anything. I would assume it barely touches on the marriage of her parents, Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. I doubt it talks about the Seymour problem and everything in it. I didn't read a monograph for October, so this is the first one I've read since September, and this one's gonna be nice. I've actually been wanting to read this one ever since I read The Crown of Blood, which was about Lady Jane Grey. who reigned for 9 days. So this one's going to be great. It's also signed by the author, which is wonderful. Usually with my historical monographs, I take them very slowly because depending on the author of the book, they can be a little boring from time to time. But there's 27 chapters in this one. I'll read a chapter a day. I'll pace myself. It'll be great. I'm really looking forward to this. And with this, I have a plan for what's coming. So keep an eye out on this one on this channel. I have 2 books left on my TBR, and they're both from Book of the Month. The first one on this list I actually ordered back in September, which is when the book came out, and it is Winter Counts by David Heska Wanbley Whedon, I think. I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your name, but it is Winter Counts, and it does kind of give off more. I mean, it's called winter, so you would think maybe January, kind of. Not really December because it's not really Christmassy, but I wanted to read this book for November because it is written by a Native American author, and November is Native American Appreciation Month, and this is the only book that I have that is actually written by a Native American author. All of the other books that I have that feature Native Americans are either written by white men or they are written by white men with white savior stories, and I just don't think that would do anyone justice. You know, I am trying to do better and actually read authors and material that I've never read before, especially like getting different perspectives from all across different races, genders, all that. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm just gonna read the blurb on the inside because I don't remember what it's about. I do know it's a thriller, and it takes place on a reservation, so let me just read that out loud. Virgil Wounded Horse is the local enforcer on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in South Dakota. When justice is denied by the American legal system or the tribal council, Virgil is hired to deliver his own punishment, the kind that's hard to forget. But when heroin makes its way into the reservation and finds Virgil's nephew, his vigilantism suddenly becomes personal. He enlists to help his girlfriend and set out to learn where the drugs are coming from and how to make them stop. They follow a lead to Denver and find that drug cartels are rapidly expanding and forming new and terrifying alliances, and back to the reservation, a new tribal council initiative raises uncomfortable questions about money and power. As Virgil starts to link the pieces together, he must face his own demons and reclaim his native identity. He realizes that being a Native American in the 21st century comes at incredible costs. Winter Counts is a tour de force of crime fiction, a bracingly honest look at a long-ignored part of American life, and twisting, turning story that is as deeply rendering as it is thrilling. So that is Winter Counts. I'm really, really excited about this. I've never really read anything that has anything to do with drug cartels. Thriller murder mysteries are usually one thing, but drug cartels, that's going to be interesting to talk about. So Winter Counts. So that's it, guys, for my November TBR. I'm kind of excited to go through this. Like, all of these rereads are going to be very interesting to see how they all hold up, what's different about them, whether nostalgia comes into play, how I feel about them now versus when I was a kid. And I'm looking forward to reading the new releases and my monthly monograph. So let me know in the comments if you'd like any reviews on these books. I usually do post book reviews as soon as I'm finished with them on my Instagram account, on my photography Instagram account, which you can find linked down in the description below. I'm really excited about what I'm going to do with Elizabeth the Queen. I have some thoughts in mind. It's probably going to take me at least another week to get everything set up and ready for that before I dive into it and start, because I want to get deep into the book before I start releasing or talking about what I'm going to be doing with that book. I'm really, really excited about it. I've got some cool things coming up. So if you've read any of these books before, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think about them, or what you thought about them. If you plan on rereading them or anything, you're more than welcome to buddy read with me. I usually post on my Instagram story to let people know when I'm starting to read things. If you have any of these and you'd like to form a reading group or anything, let me know. We'll figure it all out. If you like this kind of stuff, give it a like. Make sure you subscribe. And just in case if you weren't aware, you have 2 more days to go and vote. So go vote. Yep, well that's it, guys. That's my TBR for November. Bye-bye!